At that time I was in Lowry there, we had a reproduction on the wall there near the fireplace. Right? That's over.
Some of the artists are very famous.
That one, yeah.
Like Benjamin Williams Leader.
Yeah.
Some like this are people.
29 years old there.
You know about
My first portrait painted. I was into Lowry then. I think I hadn't met him until 2 years later.
no, that's why we formed friends.
I should have made the most of that meeting to buy a picture for about £50, but I ain't got £50. Now it'd be about 60,000.
And the reason this gallery
It's amazing.
did you see these Victorian picture at the end by Richard Anderson? 28.
That's Grandfather Daniel now. Oh, it's come out beautifully. That's lovely. That's great. And then Grandfather Daniel. He'd be about 40 in the self-portrait. And died when he was 60. 1990, the year I was born, he died. On the bottom one down there, the bottom one, Mr. Shaw in Bury, he opposed my granddad by, my granddad painted a picture in Bury Art Gallery, a different size. He said you couldn't sell it. Of course he could have done, really. There's no law against that. He's not signing it, Mr. Goodall, he's signing it down the water. But the point is, that Mr. Shaw saw me in my 20s and said, "Any relationship to Daniel Warburton?" I said, "Yeah, his grandson." He said, "I remember the first picture sent to Bury Art Gallery when he was young, and it's a bowl of roses." And he said, I knew Grandfather then. So really very good. The top one over there now, the bottom first, that's Arnold Taylor. He's my great friend in Rochdale, who died when he was 59. The most marvellous artist who does drawings, or an architect. He could draw with his left hand or his right hand equally. Wonderful, a lovely man. We went out to many times sketching, so he used to post us at the art site at night. And that's a speaking likeness. And above it's one of his paintings of No, the
Morning. I'm just waiting for my wife.
council officers of No.
I do know. Kids live there. I enjoyed the maps.
Well, he wasn't very happy with that. Do you know why? He didn't like sort of wash technique on that barn on the side. But the drawing itself is beautiful. He said, sometimes he says, a wash goes wrong. You place on the paper, it's a job to get it right.
That's Arnold, is it? Yeah. Arnold Taylor.
Arnold Taylor.
And where was that? That was in
No, near Rochdale. Most of the lights, there's a couple of dogs interested in the foreground. The sense of humour there altogether. Hilary, who organised this exhibition, she objected not being put up there. She said it should be a painting. I said, well, it's nice it links up with the bottom picture of the town hall that Larry liked. He saw that in Rochdale when he came to my first one-man show in 1951. And I put him up at the top of the little cartoon really. And also my teacher was John Bold, a lovely painter. And I went to his life classes. A most modest man, although he's called John Bold. The project is a very good Lancashire painter and well represented in collections. Well, that's a nice little link up between the three of them there. And there, Joe Bridge, gassed in the First World War.
Is it safe to come in?
Right, Morning light on the Castle Canal. That's now devastated. Only one tiny building remains. That was painted in my 20s, and it was the first picture I showed him in Short Gallery, the local artist exhibition there. And Dr. Shree had that. His father bought it first of all. There was once in the catalogue about 4 guineas, and he said, make sure it's well framed, and there's the frame I put on it then. Now he won't sell it for £1,000 or £900 at least. So it's historic, it's all gone. This is historic Toad Lane in Rochdale, now vanished. The bottom of the lane was a clock face hotel where the great Lancashire poet Edwin Wall was born. That's been demolished as well. The only thing stands up in Toad Lane now is a fresh pork shop there. You look across the town hall, St Chad's on the hillside above. Then Whitehead now. Then Whitehead, member of the Art Society. A rather nice whimsical, jolly man altogether. A lovely friend. There was a nice twinkle in his eye, and lots of fun. Sharing my wife's favourite painting of bottles, and the Zone View in Preston, and Colin Hall saw it and loved it and bought it. And Colin Hall bought lots of my paintings in his collection. He lives in York, so it's travelled across the Pennines. There's a hint of mystery about it, he feels, too. Approaching Tolden, these buildings on the left are demolished, streams are there of course. This is just near the Glaucstone arches on the left, where the railway bridge goes through the Summit Tunnel, then zooms into Tolden. We're now in North Wales, not far from Stanley, a place called Tanigrisha, which means under the step. And the steps, of course, goes from centre picture over the railway bridge behind these houses on the right. It's a place I've liked very much. I've always painted it. You'll see some more pictures on the wall in North Wales as well. It looks very well. It's a little lane to the farm just outside Bury. I can't probably go back to now, just not the location. But it interests me with this sort of powerful design, the road leading up to the tree. Nothing more than that really. It's totally strong. I like the greens, I like them. Yeah, brilliant. Even before I had a car, I used to run a train to Edinburgh, and I find it fascinating, the road going up to Keighley, with such sort of drawing. And then one day I'm drawing there, and the lady came and said, would you like to sit with all of you? I said, no. She said, I show the perspective, I want to look down on it, so I want to stand up. Thanks very much, all the same. I rest on the seat in between the drawing. And since then, it's been done for Draughtsman magazine, and this picture, I think it's just got the real atmosphere across the hillside. Jeff Bob, a colleague of mine at college, said, do you ever paint abstracts? I said, no. I said, then you paint one for the kitchen. I said, I'll have a go. I turned this one out and he said, I've now got it on the walls of my kitchen and people come to see the kitchen the design. He said they never bother. They can look at your picture instead. I've called it White Ascending. The Saddleworth Church. It's in Upper Mill, just outside of Oldham. It's a place to go there for Peggy matches with the staff. And Peggy is a good dame, and then used to retire to the local pub there. But the church there is fascinating. Alan Brigley, the border poet there, who loved both Lancashire and Yorkshire, right on the border, he wrote a lovely poem about Saddleworth Church. And I think on the other side looking down, it's quite magic really, in springtime especially. Well, I think this one is West Stonesdale, that's right. And this is West Stonesdale, on the way up to Tan Hill. And I was fascinated by the wetness and light on the roofs of these northern villages. Yeah, it's called the sky. Yeah. Yes, they're one of my favourite paintings. Enjoy painting this oil, a tanny Bouchon in the wet. And it's one picture could be repeated many times. It's a lot of lovely elements right around that area. This part of North Wales is wonderful, I think. Well, this is a favourite spot. The canals round by draughtsman arches, the railway and the canal, the main road meet down there. Fascinating. I find this hillside captivating. I've painted many pictures looking that way, and you can see other canals and the watercolours later on. But this is lovely. Near the road going from Tomlin up to Baker, to the right to Baker. And this hillside goes up Hexford Road. It's a lovely composition, I think. I think it's got these nice semi-abstract colours about it, which I just like. Repetition of little hooks on the line, with a curve around. Repetition on the canal on this wall. That's a smashing picture there. That's lovely. Now this is Bath, the Kensington Avon Canal. And this reminded me, as I saw it, very Cézanne in actual design. It's a real feeling of love painting it. I could have painted over and over again down there. It's a marvellous little canal scene down there. And they go on bridge after bridge. Well, playing about with shapes, fascinating. We had a nice fruit bowl at home, and exceptional thing here about fruit and shapes. 1950. I first finished abstraction. Still, I like it. I would alter a little bit of it. This is an illustration I made for Cymru magazine of Troutbeck. Just a pure, simple watercolour. It's rather finely painted, lots of detail. It shows the hills behind us, all York on the hillside facing us. A very paintable area, Troutbeck. In fact, when I've painted this, a lady watched me and said, you wouldn't think that you have some people down there in the village who've got some of your paintings. I always found this road from Baker up to Tomlin fascinating, because the roads lead out to Sourrow, and then one was up the other side to the right, and those roads sort of converging there. Very interesting as it was designed. It's not right, is it? It's spread down there on sort of very big box paper, same sort of oatmeal colour paper. There's no real whites at all, no body colour used at all. In my youth I painted lots of flowers, roses and anemones, and I showed a lot of pictures when I'm short by the open exhibition, so I knocked off flower painting. I found after time a lot of interest. But still, sometimes when you gather a few together, a few pieces together, it's such a nice sort of feel of a joyousness, really. It's like that goes to the galaxy, really. And I'm not just sort of person who paints out of magazines on flowers. You paint them from life. Just one night I was doodling a piece of paper and decided to do this abstract, and I thought it looks a bit like On the Way to Thomasin, and the more I painted, the better it went. It was kind of knocked off, and there it was. I thought, I left all the white spaces, and then I showed this in an old house in London, and then it went on to Leeds, and it was a long picture out of about 280 exhibited out of 2,500 chosen. 2,500 selection. Is that right, wrong, haven't I? Yes, I have. Out of Bruges. It may be overpainted, but still it's a fascinating places. The canals are marvellous, and there's lots of design. It's a real artist's paradise. I enjoy making these drawings in Bruges. This is a sketch I made in my first visit to Switzerland, a place called Thun in the Bernese Overland. Fascinating to draw there and paint. Not very many pictures of the mountains taken, but I like these actual drawings of the actual villages and